Rich Gold did something very interesting recently. It hit all-time record highs. Tell us a little bit what's going on in the market with gold and silver.
Yeah, kind of fun times over the weekend. And it kind of interesting. Gold has been hitting new all-time highs in basically every other currency except the US dollar. But over the weekend, we hit new all-time highs in the US dollar. Um, you know, Gold was moving up considerably late last week. And in the weekend, it carried over into the Asian trade. And I want to say the high we saw, and everybody's got a different number, but the high that seems to be the consensus is 2,152.30, I believe, or 80, somewhere around there. 2,152 was the number. And at the same time, I want to say silver got to about 26, 24 an ounce. So they both shot up considerably. Silver kind of drafting on gold there. And it's been a long time coming. The past 3 years, we've been range trading in a fairly narrow range. But in that time period, we tested support down at 1,600, at 1,800, at $1,900 an ounce a few different times. And, finally we got to break out above 2,000. I still don't think this is the start of the next leg up because I still don't see investors in this marketplace. I think this is supported very, very strongly by central bank gold buying. And I also think some very well-heeled, wealthy individuals are buying metals here. But I think the middle-class investor is still out of this market, and they've been so since July. And I think we need them in the market to get above sustainably higher than $2,000 an ounce.
And why do you think the middle class is not in the market?
I think they're strapped, at least in America. We've talked about this before, where the Fed kind of interprets the higher expenditure numbers in the U.S. as attributable to the fact that maybe the consumers are still spending quite a bit because the Fed supposedly underestimated how strong the consumer balance sheet was in the household and how strong consumer savings were. I think the Fed's as wrong on this issue as they were 3 years ago about inflation. They're completely misinterpreting this. Spending is higher because families are still spending money on the same things they bought last year. It's just they cost more this year. That's all. They're not buying anything more. They're buying what they need only. And to do that, they used to be able to keep up with the rising inflation by taking cash out of their home, refinancing and pulling out some equity. None of them can do that now because that makes their interest rate goes from 3 to 8%. They're not going to do that. That source of funding is cut off. So the next thing they turned to was credit cards. They were using credit cards to pay for needs, and that's not healthy. And that's why we have, I think the last figure I saw was 1.06 trillion in consumer inflation, or I'm sorry, consumer credit card debt in the U.S. That is not healthy and it is not sustainable, and that's coming to an end. And since July, we and other dealers have actually seen folks selling metal in small tranches in order to meet their needs. I think the middle class is really, really strapped, and the Fed has got this all wrong. Investors will get in the market when they're not feeling the pinch that they are right now.
So how can the middle class get into the market if they
I think
really
that
want to? I know it's a hard time for them, but if there's somewhere they really want to start investing in precious metals, gold, silver, how do they do it?
Well, I think you just got to cut thin and buy here, and I think it's important you do, because there's a narrative out there right now, and we've talked about this offline, that gold is expensive here because we're approaching all-time highs. We just hit a new all-time high. That sounds really expensive. I think this is the start of the next leg up, which means this is really, really cheap. It's going to be better to buy your gold here than it is going to be 5 years from now, I believe. So, the bottom line is, I think, as a household, you've got to look at your needs and your wants. And nobody likes to do this, but I think you got to cut out your wants. You got to concentrate on your needs, and I would put gold in that category at these levels. I really would.